Hey everyone, today we're going to go over how to multiply a scalar times a matrix. So simply this means we want to take a constant value, for instance, let's say k, and we want to multiply times a matrix A. And all we have to do is take that value k and multiply times each of the values within A. So as you can see in the example on the right, we have a matrix 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have a constant 2. And we want to multiply the constant times this matrix. So we would take the 2 value, multiply times 1, multiply times 2, multiply times 3, multiply times 4, and we get the final answer of 2, 4, 6, 8. And it all has to be in that correct order. Now, moving on to how we would program this or pseudo-program this. Let me exit out of this. Moving on how to pseudo-program this, I'm going to just show you how the process would work, and you could, look on my website below and actually try out this example and program it by yourself. So let's say we had a matrix A, and that was 1, 2, 3, 4, and we had some constant, we'll say k, and that's 2. So the same as our example, but we'll do it programmatically. We'll break down our steps in actually computing this. So first, we basically want to loop through this matrix and get each value and then multiply times 2, and then put it back in the correct order. So first, theoretically, we would have a loop to go through the first row, and then a loop go through the second row. So this would be theoretically loop, and this would be loop 1, like the process of loop 1, and this would be loop 2, the second iteration of that loop, and we would get 1, 2 here, and then we would get 3, 4 here. From there, we still want to try and get the 1 is still in that list, and the 2 is also in a list, so we want to get those one at a time and multiply times the constant. So from here, we would also have to loop again, and the loop would be basically separating it into 1 and 2. This would theoretically, loop 1 would make it into 1, and loop 2, the second iteration of that loop, would make it 2. And we could do the same exact thing for 3 and 4, and then what we want to do is multiply that times k. I'm doing this a bit weirdly because theoretically we could, the way an algorithm would actually do it was it would start with the 1, 2, it would finish each loop process one at a time and then move to the next. But we're sort of doing it concurrently. In our example, we said k equals 2, so this would basically be 2, 4, 6, and 8. Now we have the fun part of storing this. So theoretically, we would need a hold list and a result list, which we'll call res. So for the hold list, we would basically take 2. After we compute that, we would put that in the hold list, and that would be 2. And then after that, we would take the 4, so it's the next iteration of the loop, we would append that to the list, it would be 2, 4. And once we finish with this loop, so that's this loop, we would make hold the empty list again. So once it's the empty list again, we would do the same exact thing for the 6 and the 8, so we'd take 6, and then we'd take 6, 8, and that would be the end of the second loop. Oh, missed a small step. Before we went on to here, the second part, we would take 2 and 4, and we'd put that in the final result, because that's what we're looking for in our final result. So the final, we'll say res at this point would be a list of 2, 4. And now we would, once we have that, we're not resetting res, we only reset the hold list here. So this would be reset hold, and we would get the values 6 and then 6, 8, and once that loop's done, 6, 8 would be added to res or appended to res. So the final result would look like 2, 4 and 6, 8. And, that's pretty much how we would take a scalar and multiply times a matrix. If you like this problem and you want to try it out, actually programming it, you could do that in my website below. It's called DeepMLeet. There's other questions about, linear algebra and machine learning and soon to be deep learning. So you can check that out. Hope you guys have fun.